Well, that was a choppy intro. And once again, the best worst intro. I got to figure out how to fade that. Today we have a good friend here, Joe Eager. You may remember her from her News 8 days. You've certainly heard her voice pretty much anywhere you have been. But here we go. Let's go ahead and bring her in. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe, thanks.
All right. Names will be easy today.
Yeah, that's right.
So I really appreciate you coming on here. I've always been a big fan of yours, and I love all your work. And the fact that you accepted the offer really means a lot to me. And I thank you for coming on.
Well, sure. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me, too. Yeah, that's great.
So let's talk. Let's go back a little bit. Tell me about your broadcasting, your TV news career, if you could, please, in case anybody needs a refresher out there.
Okay, well, actually, I started in radio and then eventually merged into television. I was working mainly in the news helicopter, and we would shoot video for most all the stations here. And also, if there was a story that went national, it would be, and if there was an airborne. When I first started doing that, there were 3 helicopters, but eventually it was just the one that was shooting for any stations that wanted airborne shots. And then we were reporting for Channel 8. But we being me and the other reporters, worked for iHeartMedia. So there were a lot of people involved in that whole thing. And I did that for probably going on, at least a decade and a half, if not longer.
Well, that's always.
You never knew what your day was going to be like. That was one of the nice things about that. In the studio doing traffic, it was pretty much the same thing. I mean, not every day was the same traffic, but sometimes. But just the fact that you could go to work and that, it might be an easy day, or it might be a pursuit, or major accidents, big backups, and things like that. So it was kind of fun because you had a lot of variety and just didn't really know how the day was going to go.
Right. And that kind of added to the, I don't want to say enjoyment, because there are some tragic things that happen on the roads, but that definitely added to the, so there's not a monotony, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. That's a good word for it. Right.
So I know you also have a voiceover career, as well as let me get this correct, a UGC creator. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm on a freelance website that lately has been keeping me pretty busy. But I got on there to pick up freelance jobs in writing and voiceover. So I was doing a little bit of this and that. And then someone started using me for the videos. So I thought, well, let me put that on my little headline on that site. So I did. And so I'm getting a lot of clients asking for videos and promoting their products. And then I sent them off to them. And I think, for the most part, I think they use them either on social media or their websites. Pretty much when I'm done, I don't see it unless somebody sends me a picture or a video that they've seen, maybe on Facebook or Instagram, and asking if it's me. But otherwise, when I'm done with it, I'm done with it. But it's kind of fun. It's plus I learn about different products and things like that. But it's interesting, and it's not full time or anything like that. So I have some free time as well, and still doing a little bit of writing as well.
Which will lead us into our next topic here. As you can see in the bug in the corner, I have your book.
Yeah.
But I also have
I do too.
Here's the full blown picture right there. Hey,
nice.
Wait.
You got the bookmarker in there too.
I'm doing that too. See, now we got it. We got it in quadraphonic.
Yes, there we go.
So I have your book here. Obviously, I love all your writings. I read the Chicken Soup Soul entry. Talk to me about this. I'm gonna move that. There we go.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Talk to you about what now?
Talk to me about Talk to me about your healthy by choice, not by chance.
Yeah, I'm like into the health and wellness field. Actually, quite passionate about it. I still am teaching at the YMCA and a few classes there, mostly with seniors, keeping them in shape, getting them moving. And it's a great place to work too, because there's just a lot of camaraderie within the members as well as the staff. And when I first really got, I mean, I've been studying metaphysics and things, quantum physics for quite some time, but things like that. But one of my kids had a medical situation, which really got me more in depth to learning about, and it covered, not just your physical well-being, but it's a known fact that it's all connected, body, mind, and soul. So studied a lot on that topic with, involving spirituality as well as how we take care of our body and our minds as well. It all mixed together to create our lives. And then it's a lot about creating our lives and the fact that we are responsible for creating our lives, the choices we make. Because one of my working titles was We Make Choices. We make choices and we either reap the benefits or suffer the consequences, whatever the case may be, by the choices we make. Yes.
And
so anyway, I just felt like I learned a lot of things through it all that helped me on my path and my life and creating and realizing how things can work. And so I just felt like I wanted to share it. And being a writer, I'd always wanted to write a book anyway since I was a kid. So I set out to do that a long time ago and then finally put it out earlier this year. So that was a nice accomplishment for me.
Well, I love it. I was happy to get it. I even got a little bookmarker.
Yeah. I know. Aren't those cute? I kind of like them too. Yeah.
I don't have bookmarkers. I needed that. I would have used a coaster or something.
Yeah, right.
That's brilliant. I can just tell on social media that it's been very well received. Is that about right? I mean, everybody seems to like it.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes you don't get feedback, so you wonder, but you just put it out there, like the videos that I was talking about. You put it out there, let it go, and hopefully somebody gains something positive to incorporate into their lives, whether it be mentally, spiritually, or physically, or all three, even better yet.
Even if it's not, like the entire book as a whole, if they can glean something out of each chapter, or they're all the better for it, I would say.
That's right. I would hope so. That's my hope with this.
That's the hope. Yeah, I think you did good there. So, like I mentioned, we did get a couple of texts to the show.
Okay.
Phil Constantine, I think we all know Phil. Hi, Phil.
Phil.
Does the ability to speak other language help you to write in English?
No.
No.
No, I mean, either they're two different languages, so not really. I mean, I'm not sure what he meant by that question, but just a sec, I'll tell you a Phil story. So when I first moved to the area and was working, back then we were called Airwatch. Yeah, he was one of the first people that I worked with, because I was going to school and then I worked part-time, and so on weekends there were just a few of us there, Spanish language reporter, and then me and Phil doing the English ones. So that's that. So I've known Phil since I moved here. But no, I mean, I wouldn't say that it helps me in my writing of English, but I do still write notes to myself in German or my journal. And then I feel that the only person close to me who might read it is my older son. He speaks German as well.
Well, as I tried to dissect that question, what I got from it was perhaps, we have the English language, but not me, but there are those like you who can speak other languages. So maybe there's bits and pieces you can pull from other languages, which might help you to zero in on something in our native tongue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I follow what you're saying. Yeah, because sometimes even now, there's certain words in German that I prefer, and I'll maybe not say them, but I'll think them. Yeah, because that was happening.
I know Oktoberfest. That's my favorite word, Oktoberfest.
Yes. Do you know what that means?
I think it means go to a place and drink a lot of beer and eat oxtail.
Oh.
No.
Brats.
It's actually not oxtail. It's
beer and brats.
Call it oxtail.
You got it. Yeah. Your Oktober Festival, and it's actually in September in Germany.
That is true. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
I think it was too hot or something. I don't know why we do it here.
Too hot in
And
Germany?
no, I think that's why we do it here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. True. Yeah. It's
Speculation.
too
I don't
hot over
know.
there. So I don't
We
know.
have
Did that answer your question, Phil?
well, I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah.
From Adam Paul, two part. What was the craziest event you ever saw while doing your job in Chopper 8?
Craziest. Hmm. Well, the craziest day was the day that the helicopter crashed. But as far as events, I mean, there were some traumatic ones. There were those pursuits that could get crazy. I guess, one day we were on a pursuit. It seems like it was on the 5 headed south, or no, one direction. But anyway, the car was going so fast that our helicopter wasn't all that fast. So the pilot told me that we were going to lose the pursuit because they were going faster than we were.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, to our good fortune, the person being pursued got off the freeway, turned around, headed the other direction. So we caught up. But sometimes it was just crazy events, not necessarily what we were recovering. One day there was a surface street pursuit, and our equipment was having some issues, like blacking out. My pilot didn't have he didn't have a monitor, and they need to be able to see what we're shooting. It helps them. So they didn't really even know where this pursuit was, but my stuff kept blacking out, but we managed to go on and do the report, and it went A-okay somehow. That stuff can get stressful. But there were, when I think of crazy, I'm not sure, but there were sometimes some gory events.
Oh yeah, sure. Were you here? Were you here for the tank?
I was here, but I wasn't working that shift that day. But that was crazy. See, now if I'd been working that day, I would have had that story for you.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. We're
Yeah,
getting along here.
That was a crazy one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of the most wild things I've ever seen. And
yeah.
And
the one of the things though was to be driving a tank down surface streets, right? If I recall correctly, and no one got hurt, except for the driver of the tank in the end.
Yeah, I mean, was he skilled? I mean, I don't know. Was it luck? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe that was his job in the military.
I remember the motorhome getting mowed over and a bus stop in front of a Jack in the Box on Balboa, was it?
Okay. Yeah, it was in that area. Right.
Crazy.
Pretty basic.
Part 2 of Adam's question here is, you were living in Germany at the time of the Berlin Wall falling?
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like living over there while all that, like, figuratively, literally went down?
It was amazing. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it other than it was amazing. It was phenomenal. And being a journalist living over there when that went down, it was pretty incredible because, and then also, I was married at the time and we were both journalists. At the time working, we had been in the American forces, but at that time we were working for a German language radio station that was founded after World War II. And the whole purpose was kind of like Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, broadcasting into East Berlin and East Germany, with the exception of, well, maybe Radio Free Europe did that too, but we were doing their language. So we were broadcasting in the German language. That was the most nerve-wracking job ever. But after you get used to it, it's okay. It was a music show that I did, but anyway. So when the wall went down, we were, we knew a lot of people in the United States, and when they needed to talk to an American journalist or get connections, they would call us, and we lived like a half mile at the most from a refugee camp. So let's say a radio station calls up and wants an interview, but they obviously want somebody who speaks English. So I'd just go down to the refugee camp and look for English-speaking refugees to come over to the house, and we would call the station and they would do reports. But it was an amazing time. And then after, I think this was after the wall went down because they wouldn't have let us over to do this before. But they had peaceful demonstrations like in Dresden and Leipzig. This is not in my book, but it was pretty interesting because a friend and I went over a couple of times to march in these peaceful demonstrations just for the experience of it. But when the wall went down, It was one of those situations where you can watch it on a screen and feel the amazement, but the whole vibration isn't quite there. So when I went down to Checkpoint Charlie the day it opened, I was taking my kid who was maybe 5 or 6 at the time, and just talking, as we took the I guess trolley, it was called the S-Bahn, to Checkpoint Charlie, explaining what was going on, and not really sure, if he was getting it all. But once we got down there were people that were holding babies, and it was like, I just thought, oh, these babies know something's going on, because it's the whole vibration of it all. You don't have to know exactly this and this, but everybody knew something big was going on, no matter how young they were. So yeah, it was pretty great. And then, at the time too, I was freelancing for USA Today. And so we were doing a remote broadcast from downtown, a group of disc jockeys. And I had seen the bylines in USA Today. So I kind of thought I might meet my editor in person, because he was obviously based here in the United States. And so we were up on the stage, and he came over and handed me his business card and said, can you join me after you get done with this, and we'll go do some interviews. He needed somebody to help translate stuff. So we did. And it was just amazing, because that downtown area, I would say each side of the street probably had maybe 3 or 4 lanes. And then the sidewalks were huge. That whole area was shut down. You couldn't drive a car through there. It was wall to wall people. That was the most amazing remote broadcast I ever did. I mean, it was just jammed with people. Oh, and the other thing too was they were forbidden to listen to the station I was working at. The East Berliners, they weren't supposed to be listening to it, but they did. And they liked the music and stuff like that. But so they all joined and came and asked for, autographs and things like that. And it was just amazing. It was so much fun that day. Mm-hmm.
What a life experience. What
I know, right?
That's so great.
As a journalist. Pardon?
Sure. That's great. I mean, just to experience that, I can't even fathom it as well as you're explaining it. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And then because that guy, because sometimes it's hard to get out in crowds, but because my editor was there from USA Today, he wanted to go the next day after we finished those. He said, can you go with me to Potsdamer Platz, was where the first big hunk of the wall was coming out. And so I said, yeah. So we rode down there, and, it was just, again, wall to wall people. So he was a little taller. He took his camera. So I got a shot there, but, and people were just climbing up on the wall and things like that. But so I was there for that first piece of the wall being taken out.
Did you bring any home with you?
Yeah, I have a little piece.
Awesome.
People were making a business off that. But you know what? One day when I was at the wall, with a chisel or whatever, chip, chip, chip. I thought, man, these people are earning their sales, because that was hard work. It was concrete wall. Sure. In most places. I lived about a half mile from Potsdam, and the wall there was actually a chain link fence. It wasn't always a concrete wall. And then you could see, I call it no man's land, but where the guard towers were and things like that. And then on the other side, there was another fence. And I guess I never thought I would see that go down. But we had there was a forest in that area. So I would go jogging down there. So you'd see the wall and then jog by. Well, then, eventually we were in that area where those fences had been. They had bike paths, walking paths, and things like that. Yep, it was amazing. Mm-hmm.
I remember going to a restaurant or somewhere, and their bathroom was actually had a piece of the Berlin Wall on it, and I don't know how they got it in there. I don't know how they got it over here, but it was actually a very sizable piece.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They were huge slabs. I went to visit a friend of mine one day too, and in the area where she lived, there was a field. And I go, wow, this is like a wall cemetery. There were stacks of the slabs and big round bars of the big round balls of the barbed wire. Say that fast. Anyway, so these huge balls of the barbed wire as well.
I want to see your piece of your wall one day.
Okay.
I got that.
It's just
that
a little
curiosity.
chunk.
That's okay.
If
That's
I can
okay.
find it. Yeah.
I'm pulling something up right now. This was actually in Vegas that I saw it. Oh, could I possibly pull up a worse picture? Well, that's the
Yeah.
wall. It's in Vegas.
Yeah, I heard they had a piece of the wall in Vegas. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that would be the one. At least I didn't pick the picture of the one with the guy standing there. I picked the right one at least. Anyways, so how can people reach you to get this book? And I highly recommend getting the book.
Yeah, there you go. joe-eager.com is my website, and then I can autograph it and send it to you. It's also available on Amazon, and also I did the audio version if you're an audiobook type person, and that would be on Amazon as well. But yeah, joeager.com.
I got it right.
Oh, good. Yeah.
One last thing. I saw this on your Facebook page here, but talk to me about that.
Yeah. I didn't know that was even there. So that was okay. I did a shoot at Viejas. It was during the pandemic, actually. But I guess as things were kind of winding down because we did get to take our masks off, but it was still when we were wearing masks. So yeah, I found out they had this poster there. And so I finally got to see it. Yep. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I mean,
that's really cool.
But I thought it was just a video. But then I'm told that they have my video running on all the slot machines too. So apparently I'm all over the casino. I might have to start gambling.
That's great. No, I love that.
It was kind of cool. It's a pretty big poster, you know.
No, it's huge.
Yeah. So look for it if you go to Viejas.
No, that's cool. I like that.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, anyways, I guess this probably pulls it to a close here, unless you can think of anything else.
No, just thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate that.
Of course. Anyways, this did mean a lot to me. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays and
okay. Yes, Frohe Weihnachten.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull it to a close now. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me.
Take care, Joe. Bye-bye.